Sarah Ferguson has always had a remarkable ability to vanish when the spotlight becomes uncomfortable. And right now, that is exactly what appears to be happening again. Over the past few months, the Duchess of York has barely been seen in public. Royal watchers who once followed her frequent appearances have noticed the silence. No interviews, no charity events, no public engagements. Just a trail of quiet reports suggesting that Fergie has been moving from one private retreat to another, while the latest controversy surrounding the York family continues to unfold. The mystery surrounding her whereabouts began shortly after the York family's dramatic exit from Royal Lodge. For years, the Windsor property had been Prince Andrew's home, and despite their divorce decades earlier, Sarah Ferguson continued living there alongside him. But after the scandal surrounding Andrew intensified and the royal family moved to distance itself from the controversy, the situation changed dramatically. King Charles reportedly stripped Andrew of his remaining royal privileges and forced the couple to leave the property that had defined their royal lifestyle for years. Soon after that eviction, Ferguson seemed to disappear almost entirely from the public eye. But according to several reports, her absence was not spent quietly at a modest countryside cottage. Instead, one of the first places she reportedly stayed after Christmas was one of the most exclusive wellness clinics in Europe, the Paracelsus Recovery Clinic in Zurich, Switzerland. This is not an ordinary medical retreat. The clinic is famous among celebrities, billionaires, and high-profile individuals seeking absolute privacy while recovering from physical or emotional stress. Guests reportedly pay around £13,000 per night to stay there. That price includes luxury suites, personal medical consultations, detox programs, psychological support, nutritionists, private chefs, and a team of specialists available around the clock. According to a Swiss source quoted in the British press, Ferguson stayed at the clinic from shortly after Christmas until the end of January. The source claims she feels comfortable there and receives both emotional support and expert care whenever she feels overwhelmed. But that detail immediately sparked a question that has followed Ferguson for decades. If she is staying at one of the most expensive wellness clinics in the world, how exactly is she paying for it? Her last confirmed public appearance before this long disappearance was the christening of her granddaughter Athena at St. James's Palace in December. Even that event was unusually private. No official photographs were released afterward, something that rarely happens with royal family gatherings. After leaving Zurich at the end of January, Ferguson's reported travels continued across Europe and beyond. Royal observers believe she spent time in the French Alps before traveling to the Middle East. Her daughter, Princess Eugenie, had been attending an art fair in Doha as part of her work with the International Gallery, Hauser, and Wirth. Some reports suggest Ferguson joined her there briefly before continuing her travels. Later sightings reportedly placed her back in Switzerland again, this time in the exclusive ski resort of Gstaad. Eugenie was spending a family half-term holiday there, and sources believe Ferguson may have visited while the family was skiing. From there, the trail appears to lead somewhere far quieter. Ireland. According to reports, she has recently been staying at Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa in Donegal. Compared with the Zurich clinic, Ballyliffin is far less extravagant, with rooms starting at around £110 per night. But it is still known as a peaceful coastal retreat offering spa treatments, sea views, and long beach walks. Interestingly, this is not the first time Ferguson has visited the area. During a previous trip in 2024, she posted a TikTok video filmed on a nearby beach where she spoke openly about feeling overwhelmed by life and needing to escape somewhere quiet. Now, those kinds of retreats have become something of a pattern for Fergie over the years. Friends say that whenever pressure builds around her, she often retreats to wellness centers or private resorts where she can regroup away from public attention. But the pressure surrounding her now may be greater than anything she has faced in years. The latest controversy surrounding Ferguson is tied to newly resurfaced material connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Emails released in recent years revealed that Ferguson maintained contact with Epstein even after his conviction for sex offenses. In some of those messages, she expressed gratitude toward him in strikingly warm language. One email reportedly described Epstein as a supreme and steadfast friend. In another, she thanked him for what she called his generosity and even referred to him as a legend. But perhaps the most damaging messages are the ones involving money. Ferguson has previously admitted that she once accepted £15,000 from Epstein to help settle debts. However, newly surfaced emails suggest she may have asked him for additional financial assistance on several occasions. One message reportedly asked for between $50,000 and $100,000 to help cover what she described as small bills. Another email from 2009 allegedly read, "I urgently need £20,000 for rent today. The landlord has threatened to go to the newspapers if I don't pay." There were even exchanges where Ferguson appeared to flatter Epstein extensively. In one message, she jokingly suggested marriage in a playful tone while thanking him for his support. All of these communications resurfaced at a moment when the royal family was already struggling to distance itself from anything connected to Epstein. And that brings the story back to the center of the crisis. Prince Andrew. Earlier this year, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly the Duke of York, was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. According to police reports, he spent 11 hours in custody on his 66th birthday before being released under investigation. The allegations reportedly relate to claims that during his time as Britain's trade envoy, he may have shared confidential information with Epstein. The investigation remains ongoing, and at this stage, no charges have been announced. But the political fallout was immediate. King Charles reportedly stripped Andrew and Sarah Ferguson of their remaining royal titles and forced them to vacate Royal Lodge. The decision effectively ended their final formal connections to royal duties and placed them completely outside the core structure of the monarchy. The loss of Royal Lodge was particularly symbolic. It had been Andrew's home for years, and despite their divorce, Ferguson continued living there with him. Now both of them have been pushed out of the royal establishment entirely. For Ferguson, the timing could not be worse because her financial history has long attracted scrutiny. Royal biographers have documented decades of extravagant spending during her marriage. One story often repeated involves a personal trainer, reportedly kept on standby at a cost of £65,000 a year, despite being used only a handful of times. Shopping bills were equally remarkable. According to royal author Andrew Loney, Ferguson once accumulated more than £51,000 in purchases at Selfridge's department store through a personal shopper. At one point, she reportedly spent £14,000 in a single month at a London wine merchant. Former staff members have even described lavish dinner tables prepared nightly, with large amounts of food that often went uneaten. Meanwhile, smaller unpaid debts began to accumulate. A newsagent reportedly refused further deliveries after a £500 bill went unpaid. Other creditors included a butcher, a dry cleaner, and even a car hire company. Despite those financial troubles, Ferguson has repeatedly managed to rebuild her public profile over the years. That resilience is one reason many observers believe she may attempt another comeback. Friends close to her have begun speaking cautiously to journalists about her current state of mind. One source told People magazine that the latest scandal has shaken her deeply. According to that friend, Ferguson has always believed she could bounce back from any crisis. But this time, the situation feels different. Royal commentator Ingrid Seward has been more blunt. She argues that while Ferguson survived numerous scandals in the past, the public mood today is far less forgiving. In an era of social media and constant scrutiny, rebuilding a damaged reputation has become far more difficult. Still, some of Ferguson's allies insist she is not giving up. One friend reportedly described resilience as her defining quality and claims she is quietly exploring ways to rebuild her reputation. There are even reports that she has been searching for a new public relations team to help shape a possible return to public life. Meanwhile, the consequences of the scandal are beginning to affect the next generation of the York family. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have managed to maintain relatively private lives for years. They are not working royals, but still hold their titles and occasionally appear at royal events such as Royal Ascot. However, sources now suggest the sisters may be quietly excluded from certain occasions in order to limit the monarchy's exposure to further controversy. For now, though, the biggest mystery remains Sarah Ferguson herself. She has moved quietly from a luxury clinic in Switzerland to ski resorts, Middle Eastern visits, and coastal retreats in Ireland. While she stays out of the public eye, the questions surrounding her finances, her past relationships, and her possible return to public life continue to grow. So the question now being asked by royal watchers everywhere is simple. Can Sarah Ferguson stage yet another comeback as she has done so many times before? Or has this latest scandal finally closed the door on that possibility for good? Let us know what you think.